Good afternoon, Eric.
And good afternoon to you, Susan.
I've got a question that I'm really looking forward to hearing you talking about because I think I'm pretty confused on it. My question in a nutshell is, how small can something ever get?
And that is a wonderful question, and it actually has an answer.
Even better.
It is wonderful. And in fact, let me give you the answer in a very interesting way. Um, when you have stars, and after they burn out their fuel, they start to collapse. And the funny thing is, the larger the star is, the smaller size it collapses to. And the largest stars, the whole mass energy, minus whatever it is that they threw off in the process, goes down to the smallest possible size in the universe. And it is called the Planck length. Nothing in the universe can ever be smaller. The size of all of the mass energy of the star goes into one singularity. It doesn't do it all at once. It does it over, you know, a period of time, but it ends up being a smallest irreducible size in the universe. Now, we have a singularity in our mathematics, but that is a singularity that tends to zero. In the universe, there is no such thing as zero. It is a mathematical abstraction, but
Yes.
there is a smallest size, and it is called a Planck length. And interestingly enough, if you take something like our sun, which radiates this plethora of particles, and it does it over 10 billion years, and at the end of this, the sun has lost no discernible weight because these particles of energy that it throws out have minimal mass energy, and they also must have minimal size, and they are in fact 2 Planck lengths
Okay.
large.
Okay.
So you have 1 Planck length, which is a singularity, and you have 2 Planck lengths, which is everything that we call energy, the smallest possible particle. And it is determined by how small can it be so that such strings can freely vibrate within that space. And the strings basically vibrate between 1 and 2 Planck lengths in diameter, and they are basically like your heart valve. It goes in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, and it goes between 1 and 2 Planck lengths, and that is all forms of energy, be it the energy that comes from our sun, and be it the energy which are the cosmic nodes of the universe. They are also only 2 Planck lengths in size. And now your question is, what is the next size of anything? Well, the next size of anything is roughly 1 trillion Planck lengths. Now, let me try to
That's
explain.
a big jump.
It is a quite enormous jump because let me explain it. Take something like a bacterium on your body, okay? That is roughly 1 million times smaller than you are. And take the Earth. The Earth is roughly 1 million times larger than you are. You may never think of it in those terms, but that's what it is. So a range of 1 trillion is like the range between the smallest bacterium on your body and the size of the Earth.
A million.
1 million times 1 million. And there is a gap in mass energy And the interesting part about it is that 95% of the mass energy of the universe is somewhere between 1 and 2 Planck lengths. 95%. The other 5% is everything that you can see. The stars, the galaxies, the superclusters of galaxies, all of that mass energy is 5% of the total.
And it only becomes measured
And
okay. And
the
it has
problem,
a range there. The 5% that we can see, the range between the 5% that we can see and the 95% that we cannot, the size range between them is a trillion Planck lengths, a million million.
actually, it's a little bit bigger than that, because that is the size of the smallest thing that has ever been detected. And that has been detected by a collider, one of the largest ones in the universe, in the Earth. Okay. And the smallest particle that they can see, they can only see indirectly. They can see the effect of it going over a fog chamber. If you want to actually see it in terms of being able to know where it is, you have to go almost a million times higher than that. So you're talking really, if you want to have a particle that can actually be seen, you've
Yeah.
got to go to a million trillion. I mean, the range is enormous. And there are only 10 scales of a million in the entire universe, and two of them are taken up by particles that are either 1 Planck length in size or 2 Planck lengths in size. And that is 95% of the mass energy of the universe, and it's all down in that tiny, tiny, tiny gap that we will never come close to even seeing. And that is the
All right.
story of
Now,
how small something can be.
if I may follow up, how do you know that? Such
How
stuff.
do I know that?
How can you know that?
Well, you really can't, because you cannot know what's, you cannot know something that isn't there. How do you prove that something isn't there?
Yeah,
It's
right,
it's impossible. But
right. What
but
is it? Late last night upon the stairs, I saw a man who wasn't there.
yeah, something like that. You cannot prove a negative, and you cannot prove that there is nothing there. But if there is anything there, it's going to upset all of cosmology, because everybody believes this. Everybody. There's nobody I know of who doesn't believe that this is the case. I mean, there is no way of proving that there is a void there. There is nothing there. The only thing that it
So then,
is,
but something leads you to say 1 Planck length and 2 Planck lengths for
yes, and
particles.
it is somebody called Max Planck, and he kept looking for something to go to zero, which is what Earth-based arithmetic says. A singularity goes to zero. He couldn't get it to go to zero, but he could get it to go to a size which is now got his name on it, the Planck length. In other words, and we know that when a massive star collapses, it collapses. We can't prove it goes down to the Planck length, but it does become a singularity because we can detect a singularity. It's also called a black hole, and that can be indirectly detected. So we know it happens. Now, nobody knows what's in the uh, in the um, center of a black hole, but I think in our book we have explained it. It is nothing remarkable. It is just that it is remarkable. All of the mass energy of the star has collapsed into that, and all of the space around with uses around it has collapsed into space two Planck lengths, its energy, and it is packed together as tight as it can be packed. So we have a mass that is packed as tight as it can be compressed to, and it is surrounded by energy. The energy, the cosmic nodes have collapsed to the point where they can collapse no further. And that is what we call a black hole. And we can actually explain this, and we do in the book, as to the things. In fact, there is a very interesting things. The largest as the stars are, the smaller they become when they're extinguished.
You
The,
said
the,
that. I
the,
thought that was interesting.
yeah, so there's a little limerick, that we can say the larger stars are, and the brighter to the eye, the shorter they live, and the smaller they die. It's true.
And um, in honor of St. Patrick's Day, I'm not sure it's quite a limerick, but it's certainly a nice little poem. Let's leave it there for now. I know I'm going to have more questions.
Okay.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.